Hello. We, you and me, you and me. We're talking about football. We're talking about football today. More specifically, we're talking about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Now I do have some corrections to make. And some of y'all might notice I am using a different microphone. Hopefully you can hear the sounds just a little bit better. If at any point it just cuts off, it shouldn't, but I have like a semi-loose connection because of the way my phone has its. Well, I just need to clean out the little part of the phone where the thing plugs in. That's it. We're talking football. That's the important part. I do have some corrections to make. I improperly labeled a few teams' seedings. For example, I improperly labeled really 4 teams from each side. The Bengals, the Raiders, the Bills, and the Patriots in the AFC, and then the Rams, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and the Niners in the NFC. I don't know how I did that. That's my fault. I'm just gonna go from here. Last week what happened was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Philadelphia Eagles, kind of like I was expecting. I technically put an upset, but I predicted the Buccaneers to advance in the bracket because I thought that was more likely. The Rams beat the Cardinals like I predicted, and the Cowboys lost to the 49ers. I did not predict that one. I should have, but I did not predict that one. And my failed interpretation of it would have certain other teams, playing each other. But because of my accidental correctness, most of the matchups pretty much looked the same. I had the Buccaneers playing the Rams, and I had the Packers playing the Cowboys. In this case, it's going to be the Niners. I figured that might be the case also, but it's the Packers versus the Niners in this case. And then on the AFC side, I thought it would be Buffalo going to Tennessee. That was because I messed up on the seeding. And when in fact Buffalo goes to Kansas City, and Cincinnati, who is actually lower than Buffalo in the seedings, goes to Tennessee. So the matchups this week are the Tennessee Titans, the number 1 seed, hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, the number 4 seed, and the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 2 seed, hosting the Buffalo Bills, the number 3 seed. Yeah, number 3 seed. And then on the NFC, it's the number 6 seed, 49ers playing the number 1 seed Packers, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 2 seed, playing the Los Angeles Rams, 4th seed. I think. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. So basically, I'm going to write it over here. It's right with me. G. Come on, pen. Come on, pen. There we go. GB. Green Bay. I'm getting a new pen. I forgot I have one around here. Will work. Also doesn't work. I need to find a new pen, guys. I'm sorry about this, but I need to find a new pen. And this will do just fine. Okay, so what we got going on here is we got the Green Bay Packers hosting the San Francisco 49ers. and then the winner of that game will play here, and then we got Tampa Bay hosting the Rams. And then over here, we've got the Tennessee Titans hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. And we've got what's the other AFC game? Oh, it's the Chiefs. KC hosting Buffalo. Awful handwriting, I know. I'm also not really writing on anything. I'm kind of writing against my arm. So please forgive me in that regard. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through these games. These are the games. Green Bay, San Fran, Tampa Bay, Los Angeles. Now, I was pretty darn close to getting all of these right in terms of predictions. If I had gotten the seeding right on the AFC side, I would have had both these games corrected predictably. Or at least predicted that these games would happen. I had this one correct. I just had the seedings wrong, and it still ended up being correct. I had this one wrong. I'll admit that. I had the Cowboys winning. That was my mistake. But that ended up being really the only real error that wasn't from a seeding issue. So we're going to start with the game that, in my opinion, is the easiest to predict. Green Bay, San Fran. Green Bay, they're going to win it all this year. I've said it like 40 times. I'm just going to say it again. They're going to win it all this year. Nothing is stopping Aaron Rodgers. Good luck. However, San Fran isn't out of this game. It's not like this game is already decided. This is a football game after all. And San Fran is a good team. They are a tremendous running team, especially when they use Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell. That they have a phenomenal 1-2 punch. However, Jimmy Garoppolo is not a quarterback I like. He's also injured. He's the only reason the Cowboys had a chance to win that game this past week. The 49ers were the better team. They played like it the whole way through, except for Jimmy Garoppolo, keeping them in the whole time. And you can't do that against Aaron Rodgers. You simply can't. If you do that, the game's over before the third quarter starts. In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers doesn't waste time. The only way you can beat Aaron Rodgers, especially in the playoffs, there is one recipe that works, and it's worked, and the 49ers could pull it off. I just don't think they will. That's the same thing that works with all phenomenal quarterbacks, like even Brady. Pressure. Get pressure on him early. You have to get pressure on him before he can get into a rhythm. You have to hit him before he can really become comfortable in the pocket. If you don't hit him, then he's gonna be fine. He's just gonna dice you up. But once you get a good solid knock, and he starts questioning how long he stays in the pocket, and how long he holds on to the ball, then and only then can you beat Aaron Rodgers. Now the 49ers are lucky. They have a phenomenal edge rusher in Nick Bosa. He got a concussion last week, but he's back and he will be playing. Nick Bosa can win the game for the 49ers, but it's not just him. It'll have to be Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Elijah Mitchell, and Deebo Samuel. Those are the players that are gonna win the game. Jimmy Garoppolo, as long as he doesn't do awful and the rest of those players do really, really well, then there's a decent chance the 49ers win. That being said, Aaron Rodgers is going to win. The 49ers defense is not that good all around. Their secondaries are really questionable, and Aaron Rodgers loves to pick apart questionable secondaries. Their D-line's good, I'll admit that. However, it is a cold game. It's in Lambeau, and it's today. It was like -4 degrees in Lambeau, something like that. So I doubt that it's going to be an ideal game for the team that spent most of their time in a bay, San Francisco, in California, which is much more warm, much more comfortable. I don't think they're going to travel well to Green Bay. Like I said, they could win, but it just makes so much more sense for Green Bay to win. So I'm picking Green Bay to go on, and I'm going to put them right right there. Okay, you see that? You see that? Boom, Green Bay. Okay, now we're gonna keep with the NFC side. We're gonna come back over here now. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Los Angeles Rams. Now there's a few things that are happening in this game in terms of injuries. Andrew Whitworth, the phenomenal left tackle for the Los Angeles Rams, is not going to be playing. Taylor Rapp, the safety for the Rams, is also not going to be playing. Now that one's not as big of a blunder issue as missing Whitworth is. With Whitworth gone, it's going to allow more pressure to be put on Stafford and more regularly. But on the other side of the coin, there's also the Buccaneers missing some players in their O-line. Ryan Jensen, the center, played, what's it called? He didn't play one snap, I think, because he hurt his ankle and he went back in. So his ankle's kind of ripe, kind of weak. I don't know about ripe's the right word, but kind of weak. So he'll probably still play. Tristan Wirfs played. He didn't look like he should. He didn't look good after the injury. So if they're kind of smart, I feel like they should bench him. But at the same time, it's the playoffs. Not bench him, but let him heal. So they're both missing a phenomenal tackle, or both will likely be missing a phenomenal tackle. That's going to allow sacks. Now, when it comes to edge rushers against edge rushers, because the left tackle versus the right tackle, the guy who's going to be going against the left tackle for the Rams, I'm fairly certain is Shaq Barrett. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that's Shaq Barrett. And Shaq Barrett's a very good edge rusher. Of course, it's going to be other players that rotate against him, depending on scheme, formation, and whatnot. But Shaq Barrett seems to be the most common matchup at that point on the line of scrimmage. Shaq Barrett has advantage over whoever the heck the backup for Whitworth is. But I happen to think Von Miller versus whoever the backup for Tristan Wirfs is even more of an issue. Von Miller loves to get after Tom Brady, especially in the playoffs. It's just something he does. Playoff Von is very real. What else? I don't think the Rams are going to be suffering that much in the secondary. They're probably going to get exposed a little bit by Tom, but probably not for deep, because for deep passes it's going to take some time in the pocket. You probably might get a couple, but it's going to take time in the pocket and let plays develop down the field. And you don't really want to have your 44-year-old quarterback sitting back in the pocket for long with a injured right tackle. So I know it's bad to bet against Brady, but this Buccaneers team isn't the Buccaneers team that was there last year. The Rams, I think that they win. I just think the Rams win. So I'm picking the Rams to go on. Now crossing pass over to the AFC side, we're gonna start with the 2-4 game. We got Kansas City hosting the Buffalo Bills. Now this game should. I'm not guaranteeing nothing, but it should be an absolute barn burner. It should be a phenomenal game because neither team's defense is phenomenal at the moment. Like, they're doing pretty darn good, both of them. However, both teams' offenses are top flight, and that's kind of not arguable. Sure, the Bills are a team that decides to show up and not show up sometimes. Their offenses. Okay, let me just put it this way. Last week, they played against the Patriots, which always have a good defense, and had a very good passing defense this year. They put up 7 straight touchdowns. That's never been done in the playoffs. That's really good. That's really explosive. And Kansas City's defense isn't as good as the Patriots, in my opinion. Should they have like a couple better players in Chris Jones and like D Ford, because D Ford's really good in the playoffs, but it's not Patriots. And the Bills already coasted through the Patriots. That being said, the Bills have more experience with them. They know how to beat them better. They already had some resentment built up from earlier in the year. So Kansas City could easily win this game. Kansas City, if the Bills don't show up, if the Bills team that showed up last week doesn't show up this week, which happens, then the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. But if the same Bills team shows up, then we're going to have a crazy good offensive game, really entertaining to watch. And I think Josh Allen having a little bit more of a running aspect to him, and honestly, there being more talent on the offense and even defense as a whole. Like, the Bills are just a better team. Now, that being said, the Chiefs are playing real well this year. But if the Bills team from last week plays this week, it's the Bills. And I'm picking the Bills. Bills in the upset, Rams in the upset so far. Over here, we've got Tennessee versus Cincinnati. Now this is an interesting game. I'm semi-torn on how I feel about it, to be honest with you. Tennessee has had a bye week. They needed it, I guess, because they had injuries to their star receiver they traded for in Julio Jones. They have injuries to their star running back, who went on injured reserve for most of the year and is now coming off of injured reserve. Now I'm going to say something that's a bit probably going to be wrong. I don't think Derrick Henry has that good of a day. Players that come back from injuries typically take a little bit. Players that typically come back from injuries in the same year typically take like a week to get back to normal. That you could argue that the week was Derrick Henry's last week when they had the bye, and arguably the week before that, because they considered activating him like in the last week of the season as well. So you could argue that he's gotten 2 extra weeks of rest, which might be the case. However, I had a couple buddies of mine. One of them really messaged me, in the group chat saying Derrick Henry's back to dominance. He said that as he hasn't played anything yet. I was like, oh, what do you mean? He said, there's clips of him at practice now going back, and I was like, oh, okay. I asked where to find them. He pointed me in the direction. I looked at them. All I saw was a man doing one drill and a man walking around bobbing his head enjoying music. Now that's great. You love when a player is feeling it and feeling the energy. That's absolutely something that's beneficial to a team. But I don't think that indicates he's healthy whatsoever. Sure, he might be healthy, but I don't think that's indicative of it. Like, I could be walking around and bobbing my head too. It's like even if I didn't have like an actual it's one thing to feel good, it's another thing to play good. You know what I mean? But then again, there's the look good, feel good, look good, feel good, play good. The Deion Sanders adage. So Derrick Henry could go off. He could just run through the Bengals. I don't think that happens. I am going to do the stupid thing and think Derrick Henry has a subpar game. Now I think he still scores a touchdown. I just don't think he looks like peak Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? He's going to look like a good running back. He's going to look like a very good running back. But I'm worried that they're going to lean too much on their recently injured running back. And in my opinion, Ryan Tannehill cannot go toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow. Especially with the receiving core that they have. Julio Jones is phenomenal when he's playing. We haven't seen him do that much this year. It's just being honest. He hasn't played that much this year. I hope he's healthy for them, and I hope he gets to make a play in the performance in the playoffs. But I think this game comes down to 2 matchups, just two matchups, period. And honestly, the rest of the game kind of doesn't really matter all that much outside of these specific 2 matchups. I'm going to go ahead and get the obvious one out of the way. Jamar Chase versus whoever's on the other side of him. Especially if it's one-on-one coverage. Janoris Jenkins, their arguably number 1 corner, probably isn't going to play. So, they're going to have to find other ways to to scheme around not letting players open, like their main player, like Jamar Chase. Now, Kevin Byard's a phenomenal safety, but a phenomenal safety doesn't really cover like the receivers. It's the corner shop. Sure, they can provide help over top and cover deep and whatnot, but I don't think that anyone one-on-one for the Titans, other than Caleb Farley, but I'm pretty sure he's injured, and he's still a rookie anyway, like Chase. He would be able to not necessarily go toe-to-toe, but slow down Jamar. I don't know if anybody else can on that defense. They're going to have to scheme around it, and if they scheme around it, then they end up leaving people wide open, like Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins and C.J. Uzomah. So I think if they either don't play enough interest into Jamar and Jamar goes off, or they play too much interest in Jamar and they just let the rest of their team be exploited, like potentially through the run game with Joe Mixon as well. Joe Mixon might have a better game than Derrick Henry. And the other matchup, this is the one that I think decides the game more so than Jamar Chase does. Than Jamar Chase versus whatever corner he's playing against does. Jeffrey Simmons versus whatever guard or tackle center he's playing against. He's an interior D lineman, but all athletic interior D linemen get bounced out sometimes. So he might go against tackles sometimes. He is a mean defensive lineman. He will penetrate, he will get through, and he will make a sack, and he will create pressure the whole day. Now, the Bengals O-line is questionable, but they've been playing above their level of talent, in my opinion. If they can continue to play just above their talent and just neutralize Jeffrey Simmons, they should win. Now, the Titans have Denico Autry and Harold Landry as well as rushers. I'm pretty sure those are the edge guys. So Simmons is most of the time going to be matched up on a guard or center, and they have issues at guard or center fairly. I think Joe Burrow gets affected by that, but I don't think he gets affected enough and on every play. I also don't think that they're going to be passing that much to straight up diagram that they're going to be passing the whole game, and they're going to try and get a good healthy mix in there so they can keep the defense honest, and also try and control the ball, keep it away from essentially Derrick Henry. Tennessee is the better team. I'm picking Cincinnati. Trey Hendrickson, the edge rusher for the Bengals, is coming back from concussion this week as well. Like I said, Cincinnati is not the better team here, but they are playing better than they should. They have momentum, but momentum this year has been kind of a crutch, not crutch, but like a crutch? No. A detriment. It's been kind of a detriment to teams. Inertia has, because all of a sudden you win 3 games in a row, you're gonna lose. That's how the season has gone for some reason. But I'm going to be firm, and I'm going to pick 3 upsets this week. I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals to upset the Tennessee Titans, the Buffalo Bills to upset the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Los Angeles Rams to upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the Packers are going to win. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and give a little prediction, even though this might be the result next week, and I might just have this exact same conversation again, but a little bit more in depth. It's the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Buffalo Bills. Personally, I think the Bills win that game, so it'll be Bills. Because I think the Bills are not only a better team, but they're also playing as good as the Bengals are, so that means they should win. Now, the Los Angeles Rams versus the Green Bay Packers, I don't think it's any question. Matthew Stafford right here. I don't know how many games he's beaten. He's beaten Green Bay. Not many, I can tell you that. He's going to see that green and that yellow, and he's going to have Vietnam flashbacks. I don't think Stafford does well this game. I think Aaron Rodgers does. And I think the only way that Aaron Rodgers doesn't win is the same thing, like I said over here. But they have more chance to do it because they have Aaron Donald and Von Miller. Those are two phenomenal rushers. And could absolutely do it. But that being said, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to win. So that means the Super Bowl would be the Bills versus the Packers. It's a pretty good game. I'm picking the Packers because I'm not betting against Aaron Rodgers. So I'm sure I just said don't bet against Tom Brady, and you shouldn't do that. But like this year, Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. He's leaving Green Bay, and he wants to just finish his thing with some closure. And I'm pretty sure this is the closure he wants. So, just another recap. Green Bay beats San Fran. Tampa Bay beats the Rams. That's right. Tampa Bay loses to the Rams. I'm just gonna start over I'm gonna get real close. This is gonna get real close. In case you haven't noticed, in case you guys haven't noticed, I have a new microphone. Yeah, it's a new microphone. Yeah, can you believe it? It's a new microphone. You can hear this, right? You can hear that, right? You can hear all this talk, all this nonsense, all this gibberish, gobbledygook, poppycock. I have the Green Bay Packers beating the San Francisco 49ers. I have the Los Angeles Rams beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have the Buffalo Bills beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I have the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Tennessee Titans. Now, if there's anyone that's going to be the most wrong, it's probably that one. But I could also see the Buccaneers winning. But I'm fairly firm in my belief that the Bills and the Packers are going to win these games this coming week. And then out of the leftovers, I think it's the Bills versus the Packers in the Super Bowl. And I'm taking the Packers in the Super Bowl. However, I did pick the Chiefs in the very beginning of the year. So if the Chiefs win this week, I'm picking the Chiefs next week. It's just how it is, because I picked them the very beginning of the year, and this is the one time where I'm saying I don't think the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, because I don't. I think the Bills do, but they have a good chance to do it. And I was really tempted to stick with my guns and say the Chiefs are going to win because I predicted the Chiefs-Packers at the very beginning of the year, and it'd be really interesting for me, It'd be kind of like a little point thing, be like, oh, hey, yeah, I predicted the Super Bowl right the entire way through the year. My pride wanted me to do that. I said, I don't care about pride. I'm trying to be right. So thank you all for watching my football talk. This is my discussion on the upcoming divisional round of the NFL playoffs for the 2021 going into 2022 season. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you like my new microphone. I hope you enjoy everything that I make. I hope you have a good day. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. So 20, I'm almost 30 minutes in. We're just gonna do some ring sounds and some rambling until we get about 30 minutes in. Okay? Yeah. Might only be 29. Go to sleep. What am I doing? Telling you to go to sleep, that's what I'm doing. Go to sleep.